Spearheaded by two uncompromising warriors, Chaos seemed destined to single-handedly rule the main event scene for years. Each with their own personal motivations, Kazuchika Okada and Shinsuke Nakamura now had put their friendship aside for the chance to restate their legacy. I'm Kevin Kelly, and this is The Recount. Chaos's two hardest hitters squared off in G1 Climax 24. Okada went strike for strike with Nakamura, but lost out when the veteran traded forearms for knees. As the match built, it felt that Nakamura would seal the deal with an electrifying cross-arm breaker counter to the Rainmaker, and even more so when a second attempt backfired on Okada, making him vulnerable for a Bomaye. Okada finally landed the move to be granted his second G1 victory in 3 years. It was the exclamation point to a wild tournament, and as intense a match as it was, the rivalry between the red-hot athletes remained friendly. Wrestle Kingdom 9 once more boasted a double main event, this time with the IWGP Heavyweight title back at the head of the card, as Okada prepared to strike down Tanahashi. Nakamura, meanwhile, conquered his match and walked out still the Intercontinental Champion after a stunning bout with Kota Ibushi. The only thing that could possibly follow this was a heated clash of history and wrestling philosophy. Despite all the momentum in the world behind him, Okada stumbled at the hands of Tanahashi, leaving the Tokyo Dome in tears. In the eyes of the hyped Tokyo Dome crowd, it was Nakamura who left Wrestle Kingdom 9 with the upper hand within the faction. When the blocks were announced for the following 25th G1 Climax tournament, it seemed inevitable that Kazuchika Okada and Shinsuke Nakamura would once again have to subdue the other in order to decide the B-Block champion. In a sweltering Ryogoku Sumo Hall, Nakamura beat the Rainmaker. He not only redressed the result from the Seibu Dome a year ago, but he was on track to one-up Okada. Could he do what Okada couldn't and top Tanahashi in the G1 final?
G1 Climax 25 Final!
The fans were on their feet as the King of Strong Style was swept off his. A dangerous high-fly flow while Nakamura hung onto the second rope was followed by another emphatic one in-ring. And 2015's G1 Climax was tucked away in history by second-time champion Hiroshi Tanahashi. In celebration, two moments seem powerfully poetic. Nakamura extending his hand, and Tanahashi, bemused, shaking it, calling back to their first singles match on January 4th, 2005. Nakamura offered a handshake to start the match, only to be turned down. Now, while the ace confessed to not understanding Nakamura's intent until months later, their decade-long rivalry had ended with acceptance. An over-exuberant Tanahashi waved the traditional victor's flag over his head until the mask snapped. The crowd laughed, but in hindsight, it was as if fate knew this was the end of an era. On January 5th, 2016, the news broke that Shinsuke Nakamura was leaving New Japan after 13 years. It was a sentimental time, as Rocky Romero reminisced. "We're all legitimate friends outside wrestling. I love Shinsuke," said Rocky, "but we're a little happy that he was going to take a new journey he needed and wanted. We all said, go do it, but also make sure you come back." A tearful Nakamura thanked the fans and the New Japan office at a press conference and wrestled his last match on the 30th in Korakuen Hall. While the announcement of Nakamura's departure was met with sadness and even concern that Chaos and New Japan Pro Wrestling couldn't continue its upward trend with Nakamura gone, the closing images on January 30 dispelled those fears.
It's not goodbye. It's your graduation. That's what you want to tell people. Tell them that you don't want to face me
ケニー・オメガの前に棚橋が立ちました。
As Kenny Omega sought to crash the leaving party, Tanahashi revealed himself as the only one for the vacant Intercontinental title. Nakamura clapped Tanahashi on the back, entrusting New Japan Pro Wrestling to the ace, and left the building on the shoulders of his teammates. "I'm with these guys more than I am with my own family, in ring and out," Nakamura remarked post-match. "We've been together a long, long time now. I can't be happier to have friends that I consider my closest family." Chaos lost a family member, but for the next 2 years, the glory days rolled on. The group saw their careers flourish in one way or another. Rocky Romero formed Roppongi Vice with Beretta and clinched the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Championships 4 times over a 2-year stretch. As Beretta moved to the heavyweight division and the duo reached an amicable split, Romero instead attached himself to 2 hot New Japan Dojo graduates.
Tonight, Roppongi Vice died, but tonight, I am bringing a team that is bigger, stronger, faster, 3,000 times better.
Yo, and Rocky, we about to make Roppongi 3K. Transform and alchemy so properly, bigger than Gundam bodies, so software like.
Enter Roppongi 3K, a team produced by a veteran champ and built for sustained tag team success. Romero admitted that he didn't want to do the tag team thing anymore, explaining that there wasn't anything left for him to do there. When this management opportunity naturally presented itself to Romero, he took the next step in helping the new breed of competitors focus on reaching the heights Roppongi Vice did. Yoshihashi was fired up by Nakamura's departure. Although their relationship had centered around good-natured ribbing, Nakamura played the role of a big brother, and Little Bro was desperate to make him proud. 2016 would be the best year of Yoshihashi's career, the peak of which being the shocking upset of Kenny Omega at the start of G1 Climax 26. Tomohiro Ishii remained a formidable foe for every belt. Often finding himself in the never open-weight title mix, he could beat anyone on any given day. And though the IWGP Heavyweight Championship remained tantalizingly out of reach, he always stood his ground as an extremely threatening challenger. Toru Yano was doing what Toru Yano did best, and perhaps inspired his stable's former leader elsewhere in the world with some less than legal tactics. Earlier in the year, at the start of 2016, Hiroki Goto struggled with Tetsuya Naito and the rest of the newly formed Los Ingobernables de Japón. He also went through an introspective struggle, having earned the unenviable label of Nearly Man, never being able to secure a big win in a top-flight match. After failing to challenge IWGP Heavyweight Champion Kazuchika Okada at the New Beginning in Osaka, Goto proved himself worthy of receiving the invitation to join Chaos. Accepting, Goto seemed to gain the self-confidence he'd lacked for years and made himself synonymous with the never open-weight championship. Chaos wasn't finished growing. One of the most daring and explosive talents to ever catch Okada's eye came in the form of a hair-raising foreign athlete who's pushing both the faction and New Japan into an exciting future. If you're a fan of the recount, let us know in the comments below, and be sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode.